This is the Yamaha recording custom before our tuning session. Stephen, can we hear the toms again in sequence? At this point, we are removing all of the drum heads from the kit. It might be useful to be in a very comfortable area, so choose or bring the drums to a place where you have light, space, and you can be comfortable, because it is a lengthy process, and do it once, do it right. Bob, what are you doing exactly now on the edges?
I'm just applying a little bit of wax. You can get it from a candle or some ski wax, and all that does is smooth off any rough edges that the skin might encounter when you go to tighten it down. You can also sand it if it's needed, very lightly with very smooth sandpaper, but these don't need it. These are just beautifully smooth. Okay, what we're going to do is, now that we have all the new heads on and the lugs are in just finger tight, we're going to bring the dial tension up to 73. This is what we've come to figure as a good tension for each.
On all of the toms, we're just going to 73 with a drum dial. Of course, feel free to experiment. We're going to the same setting just to make sure the heads are properly seated and even, actually. Be even in tension. And then with the guitar chromatic tuner, we will actually do some more precise and fine tuning to specific pitches. But it is important that the heads are in perfect tension on each one of the lugs. And this is actually the digital version of the same drum dial. Skip, could you tell us again what is the advantage of having the same interior?
Yeah, like some drums, like this set over here, you can see how this is open grain in the inside. I don't know if it doesn't reflect. You can see the grain in the wood and everything. Some drum sets have no primer or any kind of paint at all on the inside. It's just rough. And that's going to slow down the column of air and actually affect the sound and the response that you'll get from that column of air moving up and down. And drums like on that one, Bob, if we can see the inside of the Yamaha, those are birch mahogany. That inside layer is the same as the outside layer. And it's like fine furniture, and it's really smooth, it's really hard, and it's really going to enhance the flow of that air column up and down in the drum. So it actually changes the sound and it also the response.
When you're tightening the drums, it's also important to know that you shouldn't crank one lug up to 73 just at once and then go to the next one and do 73. Or for any matter, to crank any lug up a lot on its own, because each lug affects the tension as a whole. So when you're tightening it, you should do very small increments, like maybe a quarter turn, eighth turn at a time. Otherwise, you'll have to go back and fix everything again.
And finally, last but not least, we are working on the bass drum, of course. The foundation, the lowest sound. Guys, we have not even used the drum dial yet, but I want you to hear the sound of this bass drum. Pretty incredible. Steve, we did not use the drum dial on the bass drum. Any specific reasons why?
Well, for the batter side, because it's a Evans EMAD, it has that muffling ring that's permanently on the edges of it, so you can't really get the drum dial to sit next to the hoop necessarily. And for the other side, even, it's the size of the bass drum makes it almost not important to use the drum dial because it won't be able to pick up an accurate reading as it would on like a snare drum or toms because they're smaller.
Okay.
But you can pretty much go by ear for the bass drum.
Great. Go ahead.
Couple more. Excellent. And we do have pedals. We'll play it with a pedal at some point.
What we're going for all the time in the tuning is to have the harmonic relationship between the top and the bottom of each of the drums be consistent so that the sound will be somewhat the same. So it'll sound like they're from the same set. And then also the color of the sound stays the same. And it's all having to do with that harmonic relationship between those notes, top and bottom, and between each drum. So the set really is in tune with itself. And if you really wanted to get picky, if you were doing stuff in a studio, you could change the pitch in relationship to the tune and what the tonal center of the song was to do.
Do you know of any guys that have a specific set of tuning their drums?
Yeah, like Billy Stewart. Because I think that he mentioned that he's using minor seconds, which is kind of odd, but for him he makes it work. And now the last 5-6 years he's using that 16-inch floor tom to go even lower with the sound because the jazz kind of sound is higher, so he can use that higher sound and go all the way down.
If we play something slower and give a chance for the toms to resonate, we might hear the pitches and all the work we have done. So if you can go maybe down the scale starting from the 8 inches tom. Super.
So here we are working on the drum tuning. Bob Messina, Steve Chen, Sergio Bellotti, and Skip Hadden. And I wanted to make sure we thank the sponsors that set us up for this equipment and for the materials. From Evans Heads, from Rick Drum, Michael Robinson, Jim Bailey, and Steve Lobemeyer for taking care of us and all this stuff here for the EC2 SSTs and the EMAT heads and everything that works so great. Thanks to you guys.
And also thank you to the people at Big Band Distribution, Jeff and Bob, for providing us the drum dial, both the analog and the digital. We tried both. And the people at Tuners, specifically Rusty Membrano, who sent us the tuners, the IntelliTouch P10 XL worked out great for this session. Have fun at home. We'll continue this series. We'll try different tunings for different styles of music. And if you need any of this equipment, Evans, heads, drum dial, tuners, or any other equipment, please, 247drums.com. Steve, what do you want to add? Nothing to add. Okay, no further question, Your Honor. Bob.
If you put the time into your drum set the way we did here, it would probably take one person 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours to take the drum heads all apart, put new heads on. But it's definitely worth the time to do it, and the effort that goes into it is worth it. They'll stay in tune for quite a while.
This was fun, and we hope you have fun too. Tune your drums. Ciao.